Hi, it's time for good energy, and I'm Dr. Julie, and welcome to Bodyful Day 250. And we are talking about computers and the senses. This is day 6 of computers and the senses, and we are talking about the sense of sight. Remember, our goal through this series is to figure out how to better interact, to have enough energy to better interact with computers, or when we get done working with computers, to have actually energy to function in our regular lives. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that energy, and remember, we're going to balance it out with good energy in from our senses and look at the stressors that might come from those senses while we interact with computers. Now, today we're going to talk about the sense of sight. So how does the sense of sight interact with our buffer, maybe is a good word, buffer our energy when we work with computers? We'll take a look at a couple of different things. But before we do that, let's start out with our usual. So take a deep breath in and release. Deep breath in, expand in the belly, expand in the chest, expand in the sinuses, and release. And since we're talking about the sense of sight, I want you to think about you having to sit in front of a screen all day and looking at text. Now, you could also think about sitting in front of a screen and looking all day and spending the day looking at video games. But either way, you're looking at a screen for a long period of time, and take a deep breath in and release. Now, we're talking about the sense of sight. So how are we going to, what stressors exist when we interact with computers in terms of vision, and what good energy in can we use? And there are some obvious things. So I've already talked multiple times throughout Bodyful series about when we talked about vision, we've talked about sight, I've talked about the importance of blue light coming off of your devices. Blue light, when it comes off a device, is actually activating for the nervous system. It is activating, generating energy. And if it's something that we're trying to do towards the later part of the day, that is nervous system stimulating, sympathetic nervous system stimulating, when we do need sympathetic nervous system calming or parasympathetic nervous system activation. So one of the things that we can do on our devices and our computers is to dim the light a little bit. So if we can dim it to the lowest setting, so that we can actually not have that much blue light. If you have a MacBook, there is an option to do a night shift, and you can shift the night shift one way or the other, more towards the darker version of it or the lighter version of it. And you can shift night shift earlier than a time, but in the MacBook, you are able to set a time. So you can say at 7 o'clock every night, your computer automatically shifts into night shift, and that is how you view the world. You cannot do that on your devices, but if you go back in the Bodyful series, look into the playlist for vision, you'll find the red shift video. And so you can actually set your iPad up so that you triple click on the home button and it will shift the screen red. It will get rid of all blues, go to red. That is nervous system calming. That is a way to activate it. So that's a good energy in for that. The other good energy in are the blue blocking glasses. And those are good, especially if you spend a lot of time looking at a computer all day, because that activation, again, it's a nervous system activation, activates your sympathetic nervous system, which thinks that the world is all stress. And when you're sitting in front of a computer screen, you are just typing. You should not be stressed. You may be stressed because of the task that you're doing on, but you shouldn't get additional stress from the computer itself. So the blue shifting glasses or blue blocking glasses are a good way to do that. There's also screen covers that you can put on your computer screens, as well as your devices, that do the same thing. So that is one of the stressors. The other stressor is really kind of insidious. I would also think that the blue light would also be insidious, but this one is gradual. This is looking at a computer screen all day, looking at things close up, starts to inhibit your ability to do the long distance stuff. So you end up with nearsightedness because you are doing stuff right here all the time and you are not looking away. You are getting gradually nearsighted. Now, for those of you in my age range that are starting to shift to be both nearsighted and farsighted, that is the other side of the coin. But if you have had normal vision for a long time and all of a sudden you realize that on days that you work on a computer when you are staring at text at a particular distance all day, that you do not have the ability to see clearly when you look away, that is a sign that your eyes are kind of, we kind of talk about this with posture. When you're sitting in the same space, your hip flexors start to get a little weak because they know that sitting, they don't have to stretch as much. So getting up and walking around and stretching your quads behind you is a good way of actually increasing the length of your hip flexors and thereby actually making sure that they stay the same length. We can talk about the same thing in the case of vision. If you are always looking at a screen and always looking at something this far away, the eyes don't understand that they have to adjust to distance. Now, as you get older, the ability to adjust to distance, the muscles in the muscles in the eyes, as well as the flexibility in the lens and the cornea to do that is reduced. But if you don't exercise, if you don't use it, you lose it. So one of the things that you can do for vision, and this is that good energy in component, is that every hour, just like you get up and walk around, when you get up and walk around because you're sitting in front of the computer and you're getting up and walking around for 10 minutes, look at a distance and really focus on it. And you could even do one eye, distance, the other eye, distance, and really work on feeling the muscles change the size of your lens. Really work on feeling the inner shift in the length of your eyeball. And that exercise will help. Now, we also talked about this back a while ago. We talked about the importance of doing close up and far away. But we can also do the same thing. We can look as far as we can to the right. Again, just using these muscles in a way that is helpful. And you can do corner to corner, corner to corner. That actually is a really good nervous system and brain function indicator, is going from corner to corner. And you actually physically doing it actually improves your brain function as well. So going up and down and up and down and up, side to side, up and down, and then near to far is a way to exercise all the muscles in your eyes. And actually, again, we get to the idea when we talked about with the vestibular system and spinning, move it or lose it. Use those eye muscles or they're not going to work for you as well. So look all the way up at the upper corner and track something and go all the way down to the bottom corner. And use that as an exercise motion. Now, on a super secret, low level, nobody else is catching this unless they're watching the video, in addition to helping your brain function, you are also helping your brain. You're also helping your cranials. So remember, your cranial muscles move a little bit. We talked about sinuses with the allergies. That little wing-shaped backbone, this sphenoid that sits right about here, is attached to a lot of our eye muscles. And by looking in those different ways, you are pulling and pushing the sphenoid into the direction that it needs to move it needs to move in the XYZ plane. And if we are just looking at a computer all the time, it doesn't even move in one plane, let alone, it just stays here. It doesn't get to move side to side, up or down, left or right, it doesn't move at all. And when it doesn't move at all, then you get this stagnation in the sinuses. So if you can, while you are up stretching, while you are up walking around, obviously don't do eye movements while you're walking around because I want you to make sure you step accurately. But take a couple of minutes and move your eyes corner to corner, up and down, left and right, and do that. You will find that you should actually have better breathing, better sinuses, and a bit better thinking. All right, we've got one more. We've got kinesthetic sense, I believe, coming up tomorrow. So join me out on the front step. I'm going to try to hit the front step before it gets dark. It got dark a little faster than I was expecting today because of the clouds. So hopefully I'll see you out here a little earlier with a little more natural light. Let's finish this off. Take a deep breath in and release. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.